What assurances can you offer Democrats that they will get a negotiation on this?
Well, I mean, I think, yeah, well, I've told them. I've said we are willing to have the conversation. I've said if you need a vote, we can guarantee you get a vote by a date certain. At some point, Democrats have to take yes for an answer. But I agree totally. We are all about getting health insurance down, making it affordable to more people. Premiums shouldn't be going up by that amount.
That was Republican Senate Leader John Thune offering a vote on health care provisions if the Democrats agree to vote to reopen the government. I am joined now by House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries. Leader Jeffries, thank you for joining us this morning. And I want to start right with what we heard from Senator Thune. He has offered Democrats to Democratic Leader Schumer that they would have a vote on extending those Obamacare subsidies in negotiations if they agree to open the government. Is that something that Senator Schumer should accept?
I think what we need is decisive action. We have repeatedly made clear, Leader Schumer, myself, Democrats in the House and the Senate, that we want to sit down, find a bipartisan path forward to enacting a spending agreement that actually makes life better for the American people, as opposed to gutting the health care of everyday Americans. We need to reopen the government, stand by our hardworking federal civil servants, but we also, of course, have to decisively address the health care crisis that Republicans have visited upon the American people. We're talking about the largest cut to Medicaid in American history. Hospitals, nursing homes, and community-based health centers are closing all across America because of what Republicans have done with their one big ugly bill. And now they refuse to extend the Affordable Care Act tax credits, and tens of millions of Americans, as a result, are about to experience dramatically increased premiums, copays, and deductibles that will either bankrupt them or prevent them from having the ability to go see a doctor when they need one.
But what Senator Thune is offering there is to have a vote on a Democratic or bipartisan plan to extend those subsidies so people's premiums don't go up, as they will now, dramatically in January, if the Democrats simply agree to vote to have that temporary funding extension. Is that something you would be willing to agree with? You get your vote on health care, but you also reopen the government.
I think what we've said is that we will not support a partisan Republican spending bill, which is the bill that they continue to bring before the Senate and that emerged from the House, if that bill guts the health care of the American people. And that's the reality. Now, listen, there have been votes on the Affordable Care Act tax credits in both the House and the Senate throughout the year. And Republicans have repeatedly voted against extending those tax credits because they care more about George Santos and freeing him than they do about providing health care to everyday Americans. That's the unfortunate reality that we confront. That's why we need a change in position to actually decisively address the health care crisis that's impacting the American people, and at the same time, by the way, deal with the cost of living crisis that Donald Trump and his policies have made worse. These people promised to lower costs on day one. Costs haven't gone down. They're going up. Inflation is going up. The Trump tariffs are costing everyday Americans thousands of dollars more in expense per year. And now, because of their refusal to extend the Affordable Care Act tax credits, people are confronting premiums that will double, triple, or in some cases quadruple in amount.
So President Trump, by the way, was asked about the health care issue, and I want to play what he said. Take a listen to this.
Would you make a deal with them on the ACA subsidies?
If we made the right deal, I'd make a deal.
So, I mean, that's what he said. The president said he would make a deal, you know, reopening the government for something on the Obamacare or the Affordable Care Act subsidies. Have you tried to call President Trump directly on this? I do know he picks up that phone pretty regularly. Have you tried to call him directly?
We have repeatedly and publicly and privately made clear to our colleagues on the other side of the aisle that we will sit down with them anytime, any place, with anyone, either at the Capitol or back at the Oval Office, to reopen the government, find a bipartisan path toward enacting a spending agreement that actually improves the quality of life of the American people, while at the same time decisively addressing the Republican health care crisis that's devastating people throughout the country, working class America, rural America, urban America, small town America, the heartland of America, and of course, black and brown communities throughout America. But we haven't heard anything from Donald Trump or the Republicans over the last few weeks. They have gone radio silent since the Oval Office meeting. In fact, we know Donald Trump has spent more time on the golf course over the last few weeks during this painful government shutdown than he has speaking to Democrats on Capitol Hill to try to find a bipartisan resolution. And as you pointed out earlier with Speaker Johnson, House Republicans are now heading into their 4th week of vacation. They continue to cancel votes. They have no interest in doing the business of the American people, and that's unfortunate.
I want to also ask you, obviously we're getting closer to that New York mayor's race. You still haven't endorsed Zohran Mamdani, have you?
I have not.
And why is that?
Well, as I've indicated, I expect to have a conversation with him at some point this week in advance of early voting, which begins next weekend in New York City. And we'll certainly have more to say about the mayor's race and about our Democratic nominee prior to early voting beginning.
What is it, though, that has held you back? I mean, usually this is somebody that won a Democratic primary. You know, it usually wouldn't be that much of a question whether or not, you know, a congressman from the city of New York, the Democratic leader, would endorse him. What's given you pause?
Well, we've had very good conversations over the last few months in advance of the government shutting down that were forward-looking, that were community-based, that were focused on, in particular, his efforts to make New York City more affordable. That's the right issue to focus on. It's why he decisively won the primary, and I look forward to continuing that conversation next week.
All right, Democratic leader Hakeem Jeffries, thank you very much for joining us this morning. Really appreciate your time.
Thank you.